is
Zaza.
Oh, yeah.
Fitzy and
Sweet as.
Wippa.
Hello, welcome to the Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
Yo.
A friend of mine, he's a mate, he's got 3 kids. His wife received a text message from one of her female friends. There was a proposition in there.
Is this from my wife?
No, it wasn't, but it was just throwing it out there saying,
What do
I
you
wonder if
mean?
you would be keen on exploring some other options in the old bedroom.
Oh, my God. So,
Does this happen often?
more than 2 people? Possibly 3, 4, 5.
So I'm thinking about throwing a couple out there. Propositions is in the podcast.
The Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
How's this one? Good mate of mine, married 3 kids, very close to him and his wife. He said, I'll send this on to you. This is a message that my wife received from a very good friend.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to read this out. He's in a bit of a dilemma. Well, she is in a bit of a dilemma because this is from a good friend of hers. Hey, babe, I would love a chat to you about some sex stuff. Is that up your alley? Now, I don't know if that's a
Careful
joke
with the
in
word
and of
alley.
itself.
Yeah.
I would love to have a chat to you about some sex stuff. Is that up your alley? Please give me a call when you're free. I've been really curious. I feel you're adventurous, but I know it's not something we've really spoken about. Then she said, not you and I, LOL. And that is a text message.
That wasn't from my wife, was it? Just your mate with 3 kids?
No.
Sorry.
No, it
Fitted
wasn't.
the profile.
Please give me a call when you're free. I've become really curious. I feel you're adventurous, but I know it's not something we've really spoken about. Not you and I, LOL. Now, is
Disappointing, that.
Sounds like an invitation.
Are you taking this? He's like, is she making an advance?
Nah, she was. You would have read it that way. And then at the
So who
end,
got
she
the
was
message?
like, nah.
So his wife, a very good friend of ours.
She sent it to BJ.
No. A friend of ours, she's received this from a friend that she grew up with.
Right.
So they're really good friends. So she's messaged 2 females, and this is a message from one of her best friends.
I don't think it's an advance.
Or do you think it's just some advice about being adventurous with her? Because she's married as well. The girl that sent the message is married.
That sounds like some sort of partner swap deal coming up.
Well, this is what I
A bit of an all-in.
I see this as a proposition.
I don't know. I mean, when you say sex stuff, I need to talk to you about some sex stuff.
Yes, or is she asking for advice in the bedroom with her husband from one of her friends?
The phone call, the next step will be, hey, sorry about the message out of the blue. Yeah, look, I've heard about people doing this.
Yeah.
Have you and Gary ever tried that? And then, I don't know, maybe she's picked up on a trend or something, or all her friends are doing something and she wants to try, but she's not sure if everyone is really doing it or just talking about it.
Is this,
I don't really know what it
I think it
is.
is becoming more common, though, and I'd love to hear from anyone 13, 24, 10. Have you had someone that you know proposition you and your partner?
Ooh, to join them?
Well, yes.
Or whatever the interest might be. God.
I think there's a lot of couples out there that
that's-
have these relationships where it's okay to go and ask someone else to get involved.
Well, then I'm offended because I've never received an invite. Although now that I'm thinking about it, for you and your wife, MDG, to drop into my place at 5 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon.
Have a kip on the couch.
I just... Well, don't make couch jokes about Matt DeGroot. We won't go into that. What I can tell you... I don't think I can tell you.
Go
You
on.
can.
There
This
was
is an
an
eastern suburb story.
No, there's an NRL player, and he was invited to go and... He was invited to catch up with a couple, and he thought this was just a drink and get to know you.
Yeah.
And the couple that invited him for a bit of a hello was Scary Spice, old Mel B.
What?
Yeah.
So he was invited to...
He was invited
to
and what
go
was-
to the bedroom with Mel B and her partner.
to come round for a drink,
Yeah.
just say hello. I think, what was his name? Belafonte?
Belafonte.
So they sat there chatting.
Stefan.
One of the great handbags.
What a
One of the great handbags.
Scraping the barrel of human existence.
Oh my God, drag him in. And then he realised that halfway through the chat, it was more of an interview to see if he would be interested
Oh, you've got to get interviewed first.
in joining the two of them.
What?
And Sam said no, and then he went, well, I'm not into this sort of thing.
Is it like a job interview where they say, can you remember a time in the bedroom where you failed and how did you get yourself out of
Get
that?
yourself out of it. What is one of the more interesting projects you've worked on? Well, there were these two girls in Sweden.
What are your advantages?
So what is your weakness?
I'm reliable.
Too
I'll
many
be there
beers.
on time.
Too many beers will kill me.
But see, I think this is becoming... We had a mate as well who unfortunately isn't with his partner as well, but remember he got busted with videos on his phone with couples, remember?
That's right.
So he was
filming that? Or her husband?
He was being asked by married couples, can you please come into the relationship? And guys were asking him, can you get intimate with my wife?
I don't understand how any guy would want to sit in the corner of the room and watch another man with your wife.
Yeah, no, but it's quite common. Tom, is it?
Yeah, look, no comment, guys. I know you're both staring at me, but no,
unless
I'm
it's a comfy chair.
Yeah, no, the chair was wonderful.
Different if I was watching you, Anninga.
Thank you so much for
I'm fine with that.
mentioning my wife by
I
name.
think the fishnet vest is... I don't know what that brings to the...
Let Jason Donovan do the Rocky Horror Show, mate. I don't think you have to adopt the outfit.
And a headband? I don't know why you need the headband, Tom. And it's not on your head.
You're sweating.
Hey, it's,
You're sweating.
have you been propositioned before? And if you want to remain anonymous, that's fine. We can change your name. But
This must happen. Do you know where it happens, mate? Small country towns when there's nothing else to do. That's why a lot of people end up sleeping with their cousin.
What do you mean? Small? Why wouldn't it happen
Like Coffs
in...
Harbour.
Okay, I knew you were leading into that. Why wouldn't it happen in the city?
Because they're bored, mate.
It's not. I think
There's
what
nothing
Fitzy's
to
talking
do.
about is a little bit more voyeuristic
But
than
you know
just
what?
a bit of boredom.
Because, in the suburbs, bloke comes home, then sees the neighbour hanging out the washing. How was your day? Not great. How was your day? Not great. Interest rates are killing me. Hey, we should do something fun for a change because I'm bored. Next thing you know, they're in the hot tub. And it on.
book for Holiday U this summer.
Because Aussies act a little different on holidays. More daring, relaxed, and sometimes more fancy.
And What If has all kinds of accommodation to suit your style.
Book your next getaway on the What If app. What If? It's Aussie for travel. I love the stories of people that have gone to all sorts of lengths to find love. And just commit to that love. What did you do? I mean, I know you travelled overseas. You went to the States one time, Fitz, just to make sure that there was some love in the air. And you arrived there, didn't you? And
Well, you
long flight.
Kyla Rummel cost me $2,500. I didn't have the money to do that, but a long distance relationship. We said, let's do this, and I finally got over there. And I knew as soon as I got off the plane, I knew there was something wrong. Going, whoa, she's not really.
Maybe
do you
she's
know
nervous
where
about the
where
love.
I knew? Where I went in for the kiss, coming off the plane,
And she slapped
and
you.
She sort of turned her cheek a little bit. What?
She was happy with it being long distance, I think.
And then we got back to her house and I said, and she goes, I'm so glad that you're here in Phoenix, Arizona. You get to see where I live and all this kind of stuff. And then she went, I'm so glad you're here because I just need to tell you that I just can't do this anymore. I needed to tell you face to face.
Good 14-hour flight. It was really good to be here.
Got a couple of weeks up my sleeve here. Awesome.
Thanks so much. See you later. Thanks for having me. This woman here, and 132410 if you've got a story like this. But you know what? I also want to throw this out there, Tommy. If there's anybody listening right now and maybe you're in love with someone that is in a strange part of the world, or you're in a long-distance relationship and you want to surprise them, or we can possibly help you somehow put you back together with the person of your dreams, then for God's sake, pick up the phone. We might be able to do something really special here
You got to go hard at least once, don't you?
in your life.
Because I think you
You've got to go all in.
It's the fantasy, isn't it? It's the fairy tale.
Yeah, isn't it? And I think when you grow up too, you watch these great movies like The Notebook and you go, there is no boundary.
Yeah.
Love has no boundary and it has no rules.
So many swans on that river. I got to find that river.
I've got to find it.
propose there. Hey, did you see Rebel Wilson got engaged at the weekend?
Oh.
He proposed to her partner out in front of Magic Castle at Disneyland.
Disneyland.
And that she's gone a long way for love.
Cute. I mean, this woman here, she has swum from Bangladesh to India. Now, she's never swum before, so it was quite a battle. And you'll see here, Fitz, she's there's a photo over there just before she takes off. And as you can see, her arm stretching out in the water as she makes her way.
Was her partner drowning? Or?
No. He was on the other side. So she swam across from country to country. She's crossed the Sunbadans, very popular area there.
It's a
before
good channel, that one.
meeting her man, Krishna, her name is. She's 22.
Any rough idea how wide that swim is?
It's about an hour's swim. What's interesting is, though,
You'd be stuffed.
having never swum before, she set off to avoid. She had needed to avoid the Bengali tiger, which is obviously in the area, and other wild animals that live there. So she then had to navigate numerous swamps, muddy trails, and a mangrove forest where apparently she cut her foot. After that, she swam across the Malta River, so she had to cross a couple of rivers, which was another hour, mate, before getting to the other side. He was out for the day. He'd gone. But, no, he was there. Abik, his name is. He's 2 years older than her. They embraced.
My favourite pen as well.
What, the Beck?
Arbik.
Yep. Fantastic. Perfect for any good contract. Abik and Krishna were finally together again. She's bleeding from the foot and she's got mud all over and a couple of mud skippers from the mangroves, but that's okay. The tigers didn't get her, or the other wild animals. And they found love, embraced each other that day. Because of her efforts to be with her man.
2 different rivers.
No, they got married, yes, 2 different rivers.
That's an amazing effort.
She didn't think the boat. Just catch a boat.
There was a ferry, but it was... Yeah, no, it was booked. Could have waited a day, but unfortunately it was out of season. Do you know, the bad thing was they got married and they celebrated, which was great. Her family couldn't be there because they couldn't swim either and couldn't be bothered going through the mangroves. Unfortunately, at the reception, which was just a couple of people at the village, the police arrived and she was detained for entering a country unlawfully. So that sort of pulled it all apart. The wedding night didn't go ahead. But I appreciate the effort. I can see what she's done to try and make her love last.
Yeah, like it.
See, I thought I'd done the perfect thing. A girl
we
called
go.
Taylor Collins, who lived in America, who I met when I was caddying on the golf tour, and she and I got on really well.
Yeah.
And she was going to come over to Australia after I returned here, and we were going to be together.
Yeah. Yep.
And the thing that we bonded over was the movie Avatar. And she had never seen it in a cinema. And I thought the perfect thing to do for Taylor Collins when she lands in Australia is book out a movie theatre and get a screening of Avatar put on.
3D?
Yeah, this was years after it was in the cinema. Put it on. What a moment. What a gesture.
Yeah.
She was so freaked out by the nature of the gesture that instead of going to the airport, she didn't get on the plane. And it was only when I got to the airport to collect her that I realised that she didn't come and see me.
She
Thought
never
the
got
gesture was too big.
She never got on the plane.
Didn't get on the plane.
But hang on a minute, you did all this, but then you told her what you'd done?
Well, yeah, because I was excited.
Well,
I was
meant
like,
to surprise her
guess
when she
what?
gets here.
I booked out a movie theatre and got Avatar screened just so you can see this movie you've never seen.
Keno. Way too keen. And I would have surprised her. Then you would have had her trapped in there, you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Well, if she got there and then you surprised her...
Well, Stockholm
the
Syndrome.
thing is, she's stuck in there for 3 hours. It's a long movie.
It's a bloody long
Still
movie.
going.
Yeah, and there's no one else in there, and she's just trying to find the exit in the dark.
Hey, congratulations too as well. I see the guitarist from Maroon 5 got married and eloped. There's another one. Didn't tell anyone.
I've always
I
been a
think-
huge fan of the guitarist from Maroon 5.
I think the reason was because he didn't want Adam Levine at his wedding.
Tom, can you stop handing Fitzy sheets of information no one cares about? We gave you Rebel Wilson.
James Valentine's his name.
Don't give me the guitarist from Maroon 5.
James Valentine, known as the lead guitarist from Maroon 5.
You've undone my whole story. Well, I was talking about Krishna, Tom. 13, 24, 10. How far did you go for love? And did it pay off? Did you get there and it was a great story, you're still together and there's a movie in it? Or are you in a situation where you want to travel for love? We might be able to help you out. Amanda, let's hear your story. What did you do for love? Amanda in Lane Cove.
Hey, are you there?
You were looking for Amanda?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. Are you looking for Amanda, hug and kiss? And how far did you go for that love, Amanda?
Thanks, guys.
Going well so far.
Amanda, what's your story?
I'm from the Gold Coast originally. I met my now husband, and he's from Ireland originally. He gave me an ultimatum and said, if you aren't prepared to move overseas, then our relationship's probably not going to last. I'm now living in Sydney, so we moved to Sydney about 3 months into our relationship, and in a couple of years we'll be moving over there for good. So
Wow. So did you get to Ireland at all, Amanda, before he stayed in Sydney?
yeah, we've obviously been back quite a few times together, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
So, that's as far as I will go.
Hey, Amanda.
As far as you can go.
He's not listening right now, okay? Do you really want to move to Ireland?
Yeah, definitely. I've actually lived there. I lived in Northern Ireland. It's a little bit different, but I lived there before I met my husband. I
No,
loved
but
it.
seriously, Amanda, do you really want to move to Ireland from Sydney?
What I do want to know, Amanda, when you first got there, I mean, what the first couple of days you were there, was it freaking you out going, oh, God, it's a bit chilly over here. I don't know if I could do this?
It's the weather's not the thing. It's a different type of culture there. It's
Yes.
He's from smaller town, so it's that smaller town kind of culture. So very different than obviously living in a city. So
Yeah. I mean, Amanda, you've got to be careful of the gypsies over there and all sorts of stuff going on in Ireland.
Is he a gypsy himself, Amanda, or no?
well, he hasn't confessed that. I'm going to say no is probably the answer to that one. No,
Imagine-
definitely not a gypsy.
Imagine
Definitely
if
not a
Amanda gets over there and he goes, I'm so glad you're here. You made the decision. Here's your caravan that you'll be staying.
And we feed the horses around 5 before they move us
and
onto the
I'll
next
be-
car park to sleep in.
Jeez, I'll be on the first plane back here, guys.
Good on you,
If that's
Amanda.
what happens.
Great story.
Well done.
The Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
Let's talk about use-by dates, guys. Do you know what annoys the hell out of me? I don't know why I've become the guinea pig at home, but if anything is questionable, then either the milk comes towards me or it'll be the yogurt and she's got a spoon out and she's dug into it. It'll smell at this stage, and then she'll force it into my mouth and say, tell me if it's off. And I just
Well, you
have to
don't
either
need to
spit
taste
out.
it. You can just smell it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she's also got taste buds, which was interesting. So if she wants to check whether it's off for her, why don't you pop it in your own mouth? Yeah? All right, good
Usually
stuff.
the aroma of a yogurt can give it away, I reckon.
100%. Not to mention your milk. The minute you stick your nose into the top of the bottle, if it's no good, you'll know very quickly.
Or the bottom of a nice coffee carton that's been left in the car.
Oh.
You know when you don't finish it off and there would be a couple of millimetres left
don't.
of ice
Sludge.
coffee, and then you forget about it.
Yeah.
And then you get that humid weekend like we had over the weekend, and that is a ripper.
We had a McDonald's thick shake that was spilled in the car as kids, and we didn't tell anybody. And Mum hadn't driven the car for about a week. Blistering sun, and the stench was extraordinary.
Oh, poor Christine.
That milk was baked in the old 244, the Volvo. It was devastating news.
You kids were looked after quite well back in the day.
What do you
weren't
mean?
I mean, just
What, in a
Macca's-
Volvo or McDonald's?
Well, yeah, just McDonald's. Thick shakes all the time in the back seat.
Not really, no.
Coming home from school.
It's just a Macca's thick shake, mate.
Well, didn't you were a slushy man as well, weren't you?
Well, that was my daily on the way home from school, and one of those giant pythons. The mega python. Had one of-
no, sorry. I thought
No,
that
no,
was
no,
Mr.
no.
Jennings.
No, he left. He left the school really early and it's still being investigated. I didn't go to a school called St. Bede's. Thanks, Tom.
Oh,
They were
Hey,
very anal
move
about you
on.
getting your work done.
He's the patron saint of teachers.
Oh,
guys.
that's what it is.
really?
St.
Mr.
Bede.
Bede.
Yeah. No, not Mr. Bede, Saint
Oh,
Bede.
no.
Yeah.
St. Bede. His rank got shifted up
dare
when they
say.
knew he was an
Mr. Bede
absolute
does sound
monster.
The surname of Bede, you cannot be a saint.
No,
can
you can not.
Did teach me a lesson, though.
Oh,
so
my
that's,
God.
a whole other thing.
Definitely a sinner. Let's talk about what foods actually go off and what your use-by date means. I had no idea about this. Honey never goes off.
It's amazing, isn't
They'll
it?
still print a use-by date on your honey, of course, because they want you to keep buying the product. So if you pick it up, because we buy it almost by the litre.
Yeah.
Or the kilo. I don't know how you measure honey. It would be by the kilo. It's massive, but never goes off. They found, right, in 1922, they found a jar of honey in one of the tombs in Egypt. It was 3,000 years old and still edible.
Give me a break.
Now, that's a
the
guinea pig.
Wasn't
That
Manuka.
Is it Tutankhamun? Was he a big honey man?
It was Tutankhamun.
Was it really?
No, it was King Tutankhamun.
You are not spreading that honey on a piece of toast.
Imagine how much you could sell that for. You know how they hold on to wedding cake that, might be from Charles and Diana?
Yes.
And they'll sell a slice every now and then for $50,000. Imagine asking for Tutankhamun's honey on your toast.
Yeah.
Woo!
Well, aren't there a few stories of cheeseburgers being found in attics from the 70s and they're still in pretty good nick?
Not bad. I'd probably still eat it. Peanut butter goes for 9 months. This surprised me. Eggs.
Yeah.
60 days.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
good.
find that hard to believe. Your use-by date on a carton of eggs is a lot earlier than 60 days.
You get more out of it if you leave it in the fridge.
What do you mean, more flavour?
No. You get if you keep them cold,
longer time.
You get longer use-by date. I heard.
Refrigeration would make sense. Bread, 14 days. That's boring. Oil. Some oils, like your sesame seed oil, goes forever. Absolutely forever.
What about Valvoline? Does that
different sort of not engine oil?
Sorry.
I'm not looking at engine oils. I'm just doing things that you might have in your pantry.
Give Lawsy a call.
Valvoline. How did that ad go?
You know what I mean.
You know what I mean.
It's out of date, Lawsy. You know what I mean.
Valvoline. Spices go forever. Cans of baked beans, 18 months to forever.
But that's canned. Cans last.
Good, isn't it? Really good.
Well, I've got a porterhouse out in the kitchen there. If you want to just maybe...
What, a steak?
Yeah, let's leave that for a few months.
That's not bad.
If you're saying that use-by dates are a bit overrated, why don't you have a crack at that after a few months?
You know, what about that guy? Remember he left his spaghetti? He had some meatballs and spaghetti on his bench. He ate it after 5 days and died. Remember that guy?
What?
He left his pasta on the bench and didn't clean up. And then 5 days later came back to his pasta and went, "Yeah, little beauty, still a bit of flavour in it." Yeah, still a little bit of flavour in death.
Is that salmonella? Is it? What would that be?
It's botulism.
Yes, that sounds kinky.
Yeah, it's from the toxin in the mints.
Is it
guys.
really,
Yeah,
Tom?
Yeah.
Botulism.
Yeah.
bocce.
Which is also what your Botox comes from.
What do you mean?
Well, it's the same. It's the same.
Product or...
Well, it's the same virus. Yeah. Yeah.
So you put the virus into your face.
So you basically Botox your whole body, don't you, Tom?
Yeah.
And your whole body
His
just
heart
can't
relaxed.
move.
Don't move at all.
His heart couldn't smile anymore.
Yeah, we should try it after 8, guys.
Let's not do that.
You're listening to the Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
Geez, that weather, that storm was big Saturday, and I do have to apologise to you, mate, because I said there's no storm coming in Saturday afternoon, and it ruined the Sale GP.
Yeah.
Everyone got cleaned up.
Turned up and went whack.
Talking of getting whacked. The Australian cricketers yesterday, and I need to bring this up.
What do you put it down to?
Well, it is so hard to win over in India, right? And this is why everyone's so excited, because we have got such a good cricket team at the moment, right? So we're being sent over there. When was the last time that we won a test in India, MDG?
A test or test series?
Or no, just a test in general. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Well, it's yeah, test series is even harder. I think that was in the
I think
90s.
maybe the Ponting era.
Yep.
Maybe got one, but it's the holy grail. I mean,
Yeah.
winning in England is hard. Winning in India is phenomenally hard. But we're making it look very difficult.
Fitz, I know nothing about cricket. What I can tell you, though, yesterday was the last 8 wickets fell in 28 balls, 28 runs.
Oh, he's got some stats. Do you want to hear some of those? So we were 1 for 61. We were 62 runs ahead, and we were looking really, really good. And then I'm not joking. There was an obvious game plan, and in the paper today, the headline is "Read 'em and sweep." The boys were asked to sweep the ball, so hitting the ball across horizontally, and have a listen to how quickly it just went to SHIT.
Was that closer? This time the finger goes up straight away.
Monden right to his defence. That's a clean-up job, if ever there was one. Oh, again a shout. The finger has gone up.
Gone. Another example of just that. Gone. Another one perishes with the sweep shot. Another one.
Oh, it's a horrible sound.
Jadeja has got his 6th.
Fold him. Jadeja finishes the job for India.
It was just horrible. So we swept and we all got out, right? And we lost the match.
There's some biased commentary there.
Why?
They were just a little bit too excited in the commentary box there.
So if that was
A little bit
Australian
too
commentators
excited.
and we were doing that,
That would have been fine.
So we got absolutely smashed, bad tactics, and it was really bad. Can I just bring up one thing as well? You know when sporting stars, they do, the big sporting stars, the champions, do something. Okay, I'll give you an example. Remember when Shane Warne brought out the Nike earring?
Yep.
And every kid wanted a Nike. You got one, didn't you?
No, I did not get a Nike earring.
Well, people wanted a Nike earring. Do you remember that one year it was Ronaldo from Brazil and he went into a World Cup and he had that patch of hair at the front of his head?
The triangle.
Then every kid wanted to get a patch of hair.
Yep.
This is one thing. It's only minor, but I just want to bring this up. But Marnus Labuschagne is he's the number one batsman in the world at the moment. When he bats, he chews on chewing gum and he blows bubbles, MDG. Every kid in Australia wants to chew chewing gum when they go out to bat now because of Marnus Labuschagne. And I went to the cricket on Saturday to watch Huey play. There's chewies everywhere.
I would have thought, and I was watching when he was batting, that it would be a choke hazard.
You don't chew chewing gum when you're playing sport. Full stop.
Well, no. Well, do you know what? Dave Grohl chews a chewy when he's performing with the Foo Fighters.
What for? Maybe he grinds his teeth or something.
I don't know. And Peter Garrett, he sucks on boiled lollies when he's up there with Midnight Oil.
Yeah.
That's weird. Maybe that helps him lubricate his mouth or something.
See, like Huey, when he was getting ready, and, kids get nervous before they go out and for cricket and stuff like that. Dad, I've got my bat. Okay, I've got my pads. I've got my gloves. Oh, Dad, I don't have any chewies. And I'm saying, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, Marnus Labuschagne, he chews.
Yep.
So I need to blow bubbles while I'm batting.
Mate, I used to play for the Glen Iris Gladiators, and if I, before the game, if I didn't have a hamburger and a can of Fanta, I was off my game. I just felt out of place.
And that was while you were batting.
Yeah, which was weird, and it never took off.
Yeah.
I don't know why it didn't catch on.
Speaking of the hammering, geez, I don't know how to respond to Candace Warner. So,
break this down.
So Dave Warner got Man of the Series in Australia, and he had a terrible series, but bar one score. And it's been a rolling joke that every time anything terrible happens, Dave Warner becomes named Man of the Series. And he got out again for a cheap score, and so I just tweeted, on track for another Man of the Series, put the phone away.
You can't do that, mate.
Cheap shot.
Good easy gag. Pretty funny. Actually, very funny.
No, I don't think it was.
I would say it's the best tweet ever sent.
All right.
And
how was the reaction?
I picked the phone up about 10 minutes later, and Candace Warner has responded with, "That's funny," and then the little sad crying eyes emoji.
Yeah, see, you're not.
And then it gets real personal.
So you've upset her.
Yeah.
Your cheap shot really upset her.
Did you try to get out of it after that?
Well, because you go, do I defend it?
Yeah.
Do I
you laugh it off.
apologise?
Do you delete it?
Text her on the site? Yeah, I didn't want to, because it's too funny to delete, obviously.
No one else was
People are
laughing.
still like the impact is going to last
You had
forever.
3 likes.
You just have to concede that I just said, well said. You know, I don't know. What do you do? I whimpered. I crawled into the corner. I did the...
She's got a book coming out, MDG, and I'd hate the last chapter to be on you.
Based on some of the other chapters, I wouldn't.
MDG.
Chapter 9, Matt DeGroot.
The Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
Let's talk about Roald Dahl.
He's got a future, hasn't he?
He's had a bit of success in the past. I mean, stories like Matilda, as we know, the BFG. I don't want to have a go at Tim Minchin this morning, but I'm going to. In fact, I'm going to.
Why?
Because Matilda the musical, which is out now, right?
Which he wrote.
He wrote the music for it. Yeah. Now, Tim, you're a very clever man, and we've had you on the show, and I love your work, and I admire everything you do. Tom, are we recording this in case he's not listening right now, and we can send it to him?
Yeah, this is a rehearsal, Tom told me.
There's a song that you've written, Tim, and it says you have to be a little bit naughty. You have to be a little bit naughty. My kids are running around doing the wrong thing, and when I tell them off, you have to be a little bit naughty.
Oh, well, don't blame Tim Minchin for your kids.
You've put it into their head, and now... yesterday I spent half an hour trying to rub lipstick off a wall, and when I turned to Francesca and said, "Don't do that ever again," she said, "You have to be a little bit naughty."
Yeah.
And I went, "Minchin!"
No, don't blame for your undisciplined kids.
Mate,
it's not his fault.
You have to be a little bit naughty. You have to learn to behave as well. Where's that song, Tim? Write that into the next one for me. Let's talk about the BFG, James the Giant Peach. The words fat and ugly have been removed from the books. This is so they can continue to be enjoyed by everybody today. So let's run through a couple here. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And Tommy, a character known to you, Augustus Gloop.
Oh, Augustus.
Augustus.
Yes.
Now, he was the chubby character featured in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He is now described as enormous. So he's not fat anymore.
Yeah, okay.
He can't be fat.
I understand. I mean, the Dahl franchise. I mean, the God, how much is Roald Dahl worth, Tommy?
Great
He's not.
question.
He's not with us anymore, but the family still receive
dead, is he?
royalties. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you reckon? What's he got?
Yeah, well, so his net worth, guys. So, oh gosh, that's amazing.
200 mil.
Wow.
20.
20 mil.
No, he's got to be more than that. I mean, Roald Dahl. I mean, that's what's
Google
the
again, mate.
highest selling
Sorry,
kids book?
sorry.
Did you spell it right? It's
Sorry.
there's an H in there.
Sorry, my apologies.
D-A-H-L.
That was before the Netflix deal that he just did. So 680 mil.
Massive.
Big jump. Big
Whoa,
jump.
that is a fat and ugly amount.
He invested well.
Oh my God. So in the twits, they've now decided to call someone beastly instead of ugly and beastly. James the Giant Peach, you've got Miss Sponge. Now she's no longer described as the fat one. And Miss Spider's head is no longer black. And Earthworm has given up lovely pink skin for lovely smooth skin. So we don't comment on the colour of the skin. It would be horrible to do that.
People who go, people are go down the woke road. These are fine. I mean, they're not changing the story of the book too much.
Here's an interesting one. In Witches, there's a little mouse, and they call it the fat little brown mouse. It's now just the little brown mouse. Because the mice community are furious.
Yeah. Well, it's just using the word, I suppose. Are you asking us to stop doing it here?
Do you know what? In the
Won't happen.
You know the book, and you would have read it to your kids when you're little. Where's the green sheep? Heads up, it's fast asleep. But anyway, they go, oh, here's the tall sheep. Here's the short sheep. And then they go, here's the fat sheep, and here's the skinny sheep.
Yes.
I always read it differently, and I go, here's the larger sheep, and here is the skinny sheep. Even with the scared one, I always change that word too. Here's the nervous yet sensitive sheep to here's the brave sheep.
What's wrong with being scared?
Well, it's not scared. And they've got a picture of a ladder. That's nothing to do with scared. It's being safe.
Well, it's I mean, if you're going this far, because there was chat of there was a chat of an establishment that was quite frequented, I think, by Tom. This is where you met your wife, but there was a place called the Crazy Horse.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And there was talk that they might change that to the mentally unstable equestrian club.
Now, much better on the T-shirt too. They'd sell far more, a lot more merch, I would think, for the equestrian club. Well, this ties in here. In Matilda, Mrs. Trunchbull is the great horsey face. She's just been changed to the funny face.
Is that Camilla?
And 8 nutty little idiots is now just 8 nutty little boys. You can't say boys because that got changed.
But it's not. I mean, with the BFG, it doesn't take away that he is. I still love that how he used to bottle his farts.
In the BFG.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that was my favourite bit in that book.
And then he
That's why it's
drinks.
still my favourite book to these days.
What's it called again? The juice that he makes up.
Snozcumbers.
Snoz. No, that's.
No, that was the gross.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, guys.
But then he goes and to meet the Queen.
Yeah, it's got the fizz in the
Stingling or
and
something.
they get to fly afterwards.
Yeah,
they
and
raise
then
up. Yeah.
she pours it into the Queen's cup, and then she pours it into the corgi's bowl, and they drink it, and then they all start farting, and the Queen does a little bit of a fluff. It's a great scene in the movie.
It's brilliant.
What have you got it, Tom? Have you?
Is it the Giants' Frobscottle?
Yeah,
No, it's not the Frobscottle.
It's Frobscottle.
No,
It is
no, it's not.
Hate when you guys fight
They
about
drink
the BFG.
something else, and there'll be no storm on Saturday.
I'm the big friendly giant.
You are
mate.
the BFG. Although at school I was called the BFG, as in like the big friendly Greek. Which wasn't fair. But you have to be a little bit naughty, don't you, Tim Minchin?
The Fitzy and Wippa podcast.
Hot going up the bridge on Saturday morning, mate. I can tell you that much. Thanks to Bridge Climb for
You would have
hosting.
been sweating up a tree.
Do you know what I did too? They said, guys, take off all your clothes before you put the old jumpsuit on. So I was just in my grundies. Just in my undies, sweating down the back with my harness on.
Saturday was a horrible day to be outside.
It was beautiful in the morning. I mean, we were there at 9:15.
Huey played cricket at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah? How was that?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I went home.
Good idea. Do you know what? Yeah, we did the Burrawa climb, which is the Indigenous climb. So you learn a lot about the Indigenous and the lands and the tribes around the areas. You even put a little bit of traditional mud paint on your face before you go up there. What was amazing, some of the information and some of the knowledge that Kyle, the bloke giving us the tour, shared. Like Kirribilli. Does anyone know what Kirribilli means? Which is obviously where the Prime Minister lives. It means good fishing.
Oh.
How good is that? Do you know what they used to say? The women did the fishing and the men were out doing different hunting and all that sort of stuff. But because of the Indigenous rules where you had to give back and you could only take so much, the women used to cut off their pinky and catch a fish with their finger.
As bait?
Yes.
What are you running with?
Wouldn't have done that. Running with a bit of pinky.
If that's
trying to catch a pinky.
If that's the Indigenous language for good fishing, I think it's mandatory that the Prime Minister has to be seen throwing in a line at some stage.
You would have thought so. Do you think we start the Kirribilli fishing comp?
That's a great idea.
Off the rocks there.
That is a brilliant
Every
idea.
fish is worth $1,000 to charity.
I know. I mean, we're pushing the envelope with the backyard cricket game, but can we get a fishing comp in as well?
Do you know? I mean, the bridge climb went for 3 hours, right? And you're locked into position, so you can't go anywhere. I don't know about you, Fitz, but I think it's a running joke that, like, if you're ever following your wife up the stairs, you give her a bit of a tap on the bum on the way up. That's just a kind of standard thing that a bloke does. How do you think Lisa felt after about 3 hours of bridge climb while I was locked in behind her every step of the way?
Actually, just on that as well,
they got killed.
Here's one for you, because I think the majority of the people that go past Kirribilli House think that the house
Admiralty
that is facing the city is Kirribilli House, but it's not.
No, it's
Kirribilli
not.
House is just around the corner of that, right? The Governor General lives in Admiralty House.
Yeah, and that's an amazing house. Kirribilli House is a cottage.
Can I just say this? Right? I think at some stage, with the way that the royal family's going, Prince Andrew, and that kind of stuff, I think we will be a republic at some stage. That means that house is not needed by the Governor General anymore. Do we open that house up to Sydney? Do we hire it out? Do we have a couple of Nova parties there?
Red rooms?
Airbnb.
Not bad.
Wouldn't be a bad Airbnb house, and every dollar goes back to every citizen. So you get 0.0001% for every night that someone books out
not bad.
Admiralty House.
Or, do you know what? You book in, like, every resident of Sydney at some stage. I mean, there'll be a 30-year waiting list,
That's
but
right.
you know that you get that house for one night.
Like you've never heard
Greatest view in Sydney.
Ed Sheeran live at Admiralty House. Do you know what I mean? Open it up. Rip into it. Harry Styles performs on the front lawn of Admiralty House.
It's not bad.
That's huge. As long as enough people can actually say the word Admiralty.
Wouldn't be bad.
Admiralty.
Whenever
That'll
you
do.
go to a house in Sydney, anywhere that has any view of the Harbour Bridge, it's just part of Sydney culture that you go, geez, this would be good for New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
But that would be good for New Year's Eve. That would be quite good for New Year's Eve.
That would be amazing.
We're not making it up, mate.
Well done.
The Fitzy and Wippa Show is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.